That's good. That's good. That is good. All right. All right. Anyways, yeah, we'll just get started just a bit, just in just a moment here. So let me just pull up my question again, and then we'll get into it. Let me see. Which one did I want to
Sounds good.
ask? I want to ask this one. Yes. All right. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Okay. So let's get started. Welcome to the interview. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is going to be 1 hour long. Okay. Are you familiar with the format?
Not really. So I mean, I know you're gonna ask me some questions which I'll have to
Okay.
code, but I'm not too sure.
All right. So the format's going to be, usually for interview, we'll have like introduction and stuff. We'll just skip that, obviously. The actual implementation will be about 45 minutes, and I'm going to have you control the time on that one, so be aware. And then afterwards, we'll have, 10, 15 minutes or so of like feedback and questions. All right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, cool. So we're on Python already. Raj, okay. All right, so today's question is going to be, well, there might be more than one. We'll see how we do. This question is going to be called maximal network rank. Okay, so this is a question where I would like you to write me a function called find maximum rank. By the way, you can just take notes in the IDE right here.
Mm.
Okay, so I would like you to write me a function called find maximal rank, and this function is going to take in a integer in and an array of what's it and an array. By the way, you can okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay. And so it's going to take an integer in and then a list of rows. So I want to set up the problem for you here. Okay, this is a problem where we have a graph structure of cities, and cities are connected to one another by roads. Okay, these are bidirectional roads. If you use a comment, it won't give you completion. Use comments. Okay. And then I would like you to find me the maximum network rank of this graph. And the network rank is defined as a pair of any two cities who are connected to the most cities.
Mm. So just to clarify, so are you done or you're still remaining?
That is the entire problem, but I'm happy to answer questions.
Yeah. So the inputs are going to be there's a city uh graph,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So the
Yes.
city graph will have what? Like what will it have? Like
So the city graph, the input structure will be an edge list.
okay. I'm sorry, what is the edge? Like what does the edge connect? Like is it like connecting multiple cities or what is the edge supposed
An
to
edge
connect?
connects two cities.
Okay. And what is the integer that you were talking about? Like integer for like what will the
That's the
integer
length of
represent?
the list, which in Python you can find yourself, but in some languages you can't. So you can disregard that.
So it's a what?
It's the length of the edge list.
Length of okay, I see. Okay, that's fine. Uh, so basically the input is just like one graph basically with a list of let me just I'll ask you as I'm writing it.
So was that a question?
Oh no, sorry, I'm just thinking. So
Okay.
and is there any weight assigned to these edges? Like
There's no weight.
okay. So the question is to find the maximum rank, right? Um, you say maximum rank, do you mean like how do you define the maximum rank? Like I'm not sure I understand that.
The rank, the network rank of is defined as a pair of two cities. So if you take two cities, the network rank is the number of cities those two cities are connected to in aggregate. And the maximum network rank of a graph is the most number of cities most number of cities any two cities is connected to, any pair of two cities is connected to. So the metric for network rank is given per two cities, and the network rank for a graph is the maximum of any two cities in the graph.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, like imagine there's city, there's Vancouver city, okay, and there's Toronto city. So there could be like multiple cities in between. Like you're connecting like Toronto with Vancouver, but there could be multiple cities connected in between, right? So you're saying the entire point is to find the maximum rank, as in like in the graph you want to find such you want to find that Vancouver and Toronto having multiple cities connected in between. Is it like a maximum path or something? I'm not. I'm sorry.
No, this
Can
has
you
nothing to
like
do with
give some
paths.
concrete example if possible? Sorry. Sorry. What?
This has nothing to do with paths in this case. I can give you an example in the drawing menu.
Yeah, that'd be nice if you could just give me some
All right.
example.
So let's say we have a graph. One, two. These are the nodes, and these are the rows. Does that make sense?
Are you drawing somewhere? I don't
Yes, I'm drawing in the
see it
drawing
on
menu
the.
on the left bar.
Oh, I see now. Yeah.
This is a graph. Does this graph make sense?
Yeah, this graph makes sense. Yeah.
All right. The network rank of 1 and 2 is the total number of nodes that those two nodes are connected to in aggregate. So in this case, 1 is connected to 2, 2 is connected to 1, and they're both connected to 3. So this is 3. Okay? I'll add another node over here. I'll do this. I'll do this. Okay. The network rank of, let's say, 3 and 1 is a total number of nodes that 3 and 1 are connected to. So in this case, 3 and 1 are in aggregate connected to 4 nodes, right? Because between 1 and 3, they are connected to every node in the graph.
That makes sense.
So the network rank is given by any two pairs of nodes is the total number of cities that are connected to those two cities. And the network rank of a graph is you can pick any two cities in the graph that will produce the largest rank. And that is the maximum network rank of the entire graph.
Yeah, the question makes sense now. Thanks. It makes sense.
Okay.
Not anything. Uh, oh yeah, it's not necessarily undirected graph, right? It's nothing like that. No, it's your assumption of that, right?
I didn't hear any of that. Sorry, could you say that again?
there's no it's not a undirected graph, right?
It is undirected.
Oh, it is undirected. Okay. So if one, okay, so, okay, I see. One more thing. Um, a network rank will always be defined for edges, right?
Will always be
Or it could
defined
be
for
any two
edges.
nodes.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean is like, well, for example, can you have a network rank of 1 and 4 as an example? Like, like 1 and 4 will also, so can you have a rank of 1 and 4? Will that be a possible input?
Are you talking about my diagram?
Right. Yeah, yeah, in your diagram, a rank
Yeah.
of 1, 4, will that be a valid input?
The input is not two nodes. The input is the entire graph. Your job,
Oh, sorry, sorry, will that, sorry.
sorry, I didn't really understand your question. A rank of 1 of 4 is obviously possible. I mean, you can put in any two nodes. I mean, you can put in 1 and 1 if you want, but that wouldn't really help you.
Yeah, and
So,
never
what's
mind.
your question? I
Actually,
didn't quite understand your question.
I know it's okay. I kind of got the clarity. I was misunderstanding something before.
Is it okay? Is it good now?
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Okay.
It seems like what do you say? The approach that I would follow, right? Um, seems like I what we need to do is we need to find the nodes which have the maximum number of edges connect, maximum number of neighbors connected to it, right? Like the maximum number of neighbors. Like for example, in your diagram, we one has like 2 and 3 connected, right? So that's like maximum number of nodes it's one is connected to, right? So we want to find like the two nodes having the highest number of nodes connected to it. I think that's what we need to do, right?
You tell me. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm telling you. Yeah, sorry.
Is that always going to be the case?
Let me think of a concrete example. I mean, there is an issue with that what you said. You could have no, sorry, that will not be the case. You want to have maximum number of nodes connected to it, right? That will not always be the case. That will not always be the case here. Yeah, I need to think a little bit. I mean, basically, what you want to do is you want to find two nodes that are connected to, maximum number of nodes that are not overlapping between them. So it should be. I have to think of an algorithm of how I can approach it. But like what I'm thinking is, you need to find the two nodes that have where the neighbor set, right, the edges, right. They should when you combine them edges at the edges, that should be the maximum, right? So you want to have the two nodes having the maximum number of nodes connected to it, as well as having the least amount of overlap between them, right?
Yes, correct. You need to account for the overlap.
One approach is always you can brute force it, you know. So like you can go through like, because it's a graph, right? You can brute force it such that you're like you can go through two edges at the same time, and then for each two edge you just process the total the rank of each edge. So not edge, so you go to like two nodes at a time in the graph, and when you go to two nodes you are like trying to find the rank of two nodes collectively, and you can do that for like in a brute force approach. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's one approach. I mean, I'm still thinking if I have a better approach, but I feel like that's the only approach I can think of right now. Yeah, I can code that approach if I can code that approach.
Okay.
But I think for getting a rank, the brute force is the only approach I can think of. Because you want to know all possibilities. Like I can't think of a way you can minimize. I can't think of a way where you can do this without brute force currently. So
I mean, yeah, we can
I'll
we
just
can
go with the
definitely we
brute
can
force
definitely
approach.
start there.
Yeah. Let's start coding. Is this Python like this 3 point? Oh, this is 3.10. Okay. I'll like search up some stuff like not the solution, but like I mean I know it's not a real interview, but like just asking, is it okay like if I search up some certain syntax stuff in Python
I mean, you can definitely search it up. I mean, I
or
mean, obviously
generally
this is
when
not a real interview. I don't care, but just be aware. Depending on the interviewer, they might say no, right? I mean, I'm gonna say yes just so this so
I
I
mean
can move
that's
this
what I'm
along.
asking.
Yeah, but just be aware. Some people will say no, but I'm gonna say yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean I'm just asking because you've conducted like you've seen multiple interviews like in general like majority times do they're like okay or they're not okay like
And majority of times they're not okay because if you, I mean, it depends on the question. People ask you, "Oh, what do you not know?" So they'll ask you, and if it's a syntax question, they'll usually just say, "All right, you can assume the syntax." If it's a more detailed questions, they'll usually say, "No, you cannot search that." So if you want a more real mock
not
experience, then I want to say, "Okay, well, what do you have a problem with?"
I have a problem with the syntax basically. So like I'm trying to just still not very familiar with the latest Python. Like I've always used the older one where we don't specify like list and we don't specify like the type of your variable, right? Whether it's an integer or stuff like that. Like I'm more well versed with the older version of Python rather than in the latest version.
In Python 3, you don't need to specify the
Is
types
that
either. You can just omit that.
okay? Okay, yeah. So first I'm going to convert this the list of edges into a hash map because you want to know like for example one has which all neighbors, right? As an example, I'm saying like imagine there's a node one, okay? what are its neighbors. So you want to have it like as a hash map where one is mapped to its neighbor nodes, right? So I'm going to first convert this edge list into a hash map. So
Can
that's
we
what I'm going to
before
do.
we go there, can we pause for a second? I want to just before we code any further, I want to just talk about an outline, right? So I just want to get you to write down the outline of the algorithm you're going to use. So for example, you said convert the input edge list into XYZ format, and then write like, oh, and
Mhm.
then do this on my converted list, and then do this and do this. So I want to just write a little just some comments in your code here, just to help me understand what step you're on and what steps you think there will be.
Okay, sounds good. What to do is first oh, you want me to write the entire outline of the algorithm first, right?
Yeah, like just high level, just using English. Like I just want to know what you're trying to do.
That makes sense. So the approach that I'm intending to do, right, is we've given an a list of edges, right? So first I want to convert the list of edges into a hash map where, for example, if we have only one edge in the graph that is 1 comma 2, right? We convert it into a hash map such that one has a neighbor 2 and
Yep.
2 has a neighbor 1, since it's a undirected graph, so that's how it will be. And then the approach is basically to like brute force to go through all possible two nodes in this hash map, such that you get once you get the two nodes, right, you want to find the overlapping set of the neighbors, and you want to ensure that they are unique, so like if there's some that repeat, right, you use a hash set basically for that overlapping set because you want it to be unique always, right? So you want to find the overlapping set of neighbors for every two node, and then once you have that, you can have a variable that checks for like whichever is the maximum throughout the entire hash map. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. That makes sense. I like the algorithm so far. I did want to just clarify sort of hash map here. Can you tell me the types of the key and the value?
The types of the key and the value.
Yes.
So I thought it'd be like an integer. It depends upon the input, right? So I mean,
Well,
let me
so
see.
the inputs are integers, right? You know, integers represent nodes, like you have in your example. This is totally fine. I I, I want to know what is the type of your key. Is it also going to be an integer in this case?
It'll be an integer as well,
Okay.
but the value is going to be a list, right? So
Okay. All right. Yeah. Please continue. So now you can proceed to coding the actual algorithm. Yeah.
Rather than naming it graph, I'll just name it like, which is,
Yeah, that's fine.
it's basically a, yeah, just for simplicity. Nodes as an input as well.
Sorry.
We don't have a number of nodes as an input, right? Number of nodes that we'll have in this as an input.
No, that's not input. No, you don't know that.
Okay. Okay, I'll do it this way. Okay. Basically, in this, what I'm doing is I'm just converting, each edges into a hash map. So if you see, right, what I'm doing is like this is like creating a hash map when I'm like, if I haven't initialized the uh, the the list for each node, then I'm just initializing that over here, right? And I'm just appending, I'm appending the neighbors to each node. So does this make sense? Like converting the edges into a hash map.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I'm gonna like code the algorithm for brute forcing or all possible two nodes. So I'm gonna do that right now. This is really the only question you'll ask, right? I mean, I don't think I can ask and answer another question in 45 minutes. So
Yeah, I mean, we'll just do what we can.
right, that makes sense. Okay, so defining another function just for like simplest, just for like coding it easier. Function to like get the. I mean, I don't need to define a function. I can do it in this method itself. just work like a function to get the overlap, between two nodes.
Okay.
Just so it's like easier for me to test out, in case it's so there's some mistake in it. So this is like a function to get like the overlap of the neighbors from node one and two, like the unique overlap. So basically, it's like if node one has a set S and S1 and node two has a set S2, then it's just S1 union S2, right? That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Right? Oh, so you want the output to be like the two nodes, right? That have the maximum rank.
No, the output is the actual rank.
So it's just the value of the rank, right?
Yes.
The integer. It'll be an integer basically, right?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. So I mean, this is basically getting the overlap. So does this make sense? Like what I'm doing is I'm going through all its neighbors and adding them to the hash set. Like the reason I'm using a set is because I want all the neighbors to be unique, right?
Yep.
I
Yep.
don't
No, that
want
makes
like, for
sense.
example, yeah. So this is getting like the length of the overlap set.
Yep. That makes sense.
This is basically like brute forcing, such that you're trying to get through all two node possible combinations in the adjacency list, and you're like rank is basically the maximum of whatever the
Yep.
current maximum rank is, and whatever is the overlap between node one and node two, right? So I'm just trying to get the maximum rank over here, and I'm returning it here. So does
Okay.
this approach make sense?
Yep. That makes sense. I'm pretty happy with that. Um, in the interest of time, I want to move us along here. So I want to ask us about the time and space of this function here.
Okay. think the time complexity is so because I'm like brute forcing it, right? I'm going through each of the vertices twice, right? So it'll be like v square, like the number of vertices because of these two for double for loops. And because I'm doing a get overlap set, right? I'm going through edges twice. So I think the time complexity will be like v square times e for this algorithm.
Okay,
And the
v
reason
squared
for
times e.
that
All right.
is, does that make sense or do I need to explain it like it? Because
No,
it's
that
like
makes
a double
sense because
form.
you're saying this because like over here like this is e, this is e, this is one e, this is another e. So this is v squared times e. Is
Yeah,
what you're saying? Okay.
yeah, that's what
And
I'm saying. And space complexity will be sorry,
no, that's good. Move on.
and the space complexity will be v plus e because we are creating a hash map here, you know, and there'll be like and because they're like the original edge list, right? Its space complexity is v plus e, so that's the reason the adjacency list space complexity will be e plus e, v plus e as well.
Sorry.
So that's
What
the
was the original space complexity you're talking about?
oh no, I'm just saying that so because we are creating an adjacency list, right?
Yes.
So from a graph, so whatever the original space complexity of the original graph, that is like the edge list was v plus e, right? Because the number of vertices and number of edges, right? So
Okay. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
the the space complexity for this algorithm will also be v plus e because because of the input edge list,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense? Does your helper use extra memory that we need to be concerned about?
Oh yeah, actually. Let me think. No, we should not worry about it because the helper does use extra memory, but like it'll be like basically it will be 2e, which is less than v plus e, right? I mean, okay, you could argue that okay, if you could say that depending on how big the edges are, the helper function could dominate v plus e. So like for example, if your edge number of edges are way more than your number of vertices, then the helper method will basically dominate and the time space complexity will become 2e. So the helper function could
Can you
it depends
explain?
upon like whichever.
Could you explain where the two e comes from?
So the 2e comes from so basically you have an overlap set, right? You're creating a hash set
Okay.
where you're going through each of the edges of you're going through each of the edges of a number of a node, right? No, wait, let me think. No, actually, it will not be 2e. Sorry, my bad. I misunderstood. It will not be 2e. Um, it will be no. I think v plus e is correct because like the space complexity overall is v plus e is correct. I think the helper method will have additional space complexity, but like it will not be. It will still be lesser than v plus e, and the reason for that is you're all you're doing is you're creating a hash set where you're trying to go for each neighbors of a no of the of two nodes, right? So each of the neighbors of two nodes will the entire set, right, will be less than or equal to the overall edge list set, right? So like if you look at the overall number of edges, it will always be less than or equal to, right, the hash set length.
Okay. Yeah.
So v plus e will always be bigger than the helper function space complexity. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yep. Okay. So the I think we have time for one follow up. Maybe we'll see how it goes. But the follow up I want to ask here is, I think we can improve on the well we can improve on a couple of things here. But I want to think about improving on the time complexity. Okay. So I think that iterating through every pair of nodes is actually fine. I think that is totally fine. But I think that the helper is actually not necessary if you pick a better way to store your adjacency list. Or in other words, you know, your usage of the adjacency list is solely to find all nodes connected to a given node, right?
Hmm.
But you don't actually care what the nodes are,
Yeah.
right? So you're storing a whole list, right? You're storing a whole list of items over here, and you are still not caring about what items are in the list. You're only caring about the size of the list.
Hmm.
So why don't we just store the size of the list? Can you think through that chain of logic for me?
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay. That makes sense. What I can do is, I mean, what you say makes sense. Like we don't need to necessarily store all the neighbor nodes, right? Because we only care about the overall length, like the overall length of the overlapping set, right? So trying to optimize on that, right? So let me think. The adjacency list, we already know the length of the neighbor node, right? So like for example, if there's a node n1, right? So we know because it's a hash map where it's mapped to the list of neighbor nodes, right? So we already know the length of the neighbor nodes, right? Um,
Well, yeah, I mean, you know at this point, right? I mean, after you're done adding all the edges, yeah, you know the. I mean, yeah, at this point, you know.
yeah. But the Okay, I mean I can optimize it further, where rather than having two for loops in the get overlap method, right? I can do it with one for loop. I don't know if that makes it a lot better because just removing one for loop, right?
Yeah,
I can optimize that where I'm like, okay, I don't need two for loops, right? Because
yeah.
um,
Okay.
I can just check for like, sorry, I can
Yeah,
just check for,
yeah.
I can,
I'm
if you
gonna
want me to do
interrupt
that,
you
I'll just
there.
do that.
I'll interrupt you and tell you that at this point is roughly when the real interview would end. They would just move on from here. But because this is a mock interview, I'll do something different, which is that I will now tell you the correct answer and you will implement it. Okay. So the correct answer here
Okay.
is you store, instead of the actual list, you store the number of connected edges on, excuse me, you store the number of connected edges on this list, sorry, on the current node. And the reason you do that is because, like I said, you don't actually care about the nodes themselves. You only care about the number of nodes. And one edge case is there that you actually had accounted for is that the two nodes have been connected to each other, and you would be double counting that one edge. And so to do that, is that instead of storing an adjacency list, you can also have a connected matrix that is true, or whatever data structure you want that is true, if and only if the two nodes are connected. And so your final, so your final math would actually look something like this. Actually, I'm going to do like this. Rank equals max of, in this case will be, I mean, it doesn't really matter, so I mean, in this case rank, and then you would have the actual count in this case, so I'm going to just do add list at node 1. This is a number. Edge list at node 2, whoops, node 1, and then minus connected matrix at node 1, node 2. So this is the form that you ideally would end up with, because like I said, you're using the set as just to get the length, right? But you don't need the length because this is the length. And then if the two nodes are connected, then you subtract 1, which is what this would equal, right? So this is the kind of format that would be a bit more optimal. In this case, you wouldn't need to actually do the loop in this case, right?
Yeah, this
Okay.
makes sense. This makes sense.
Yeah. So up to you. If you want to give this a shot for implementation, we can go through that right now. I don't. There's not too much feedback I want to give you here, so we can spend a bit of time on that. Otherwise, we can just go into feedback and questions. So that's up to you. What would you prefer?
I mean, if you, I mean, you, how much time do you have? I mean, I don't want to spend too much time, like maybe
I
two,
mean,
three
we have
minutes
until
at
1, which is when the
maximum.
resume review happens. But I do want to still have a bit of time for feedback. Or if you have questions, then obviously that would be good to go over as well.
Um, I don't honestly. I mean, I have a few questions. Like, we okay. Maybe I can spend 2, 3 minutes quickly and see if
Sure.
I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
figure
Go
it
ahead.
out. Or
Yeah, that sounds good.
uh, yeah, after 2, 3 minutes, maybe we can wrap it up. If I get it good. If
Yep.
not, I can
Okay.
do it in my own time as well, right? Is this a lead code problem or something? Because
This
I've
is a
never
leak code.
seen this
This is a
problem
leak
before.
code problem, but I have rephrased it a little bit so that you don't get the image as a helper. But I did end up giving you the image anyways, so this ended up being exactly a leak code question. Yes.
Oh, okay, I see. I've not seen this question before, so I guess that's good.
I mean,
I
most people
think.
haven't. That's why I picked them.
Yeah. Thinking about it in my free time. We can go over some feedback, or
All right.
I have some questions as well which I can ask.
Yeah, sure. What do you want to start with? I mean, do you have a lot of questions?
No, I have a few questions only, not a lot actually.
Okay, then we can
Um,
go through the feedback first. I want to just go through a couple things, and then I'll send you the notes after, so you can look at that on your own time. A couple things off the bat I want to just go through. So the first thing is, This is a problem, and you'll see many different types and categories of problems. This kind of problem is one where the comprehension is the half the problem, right? Some problems are very simple to understand and very hard to execute. Other problems are very difficult to understand but relatively easy to execute. Okay, those are. I mean, I'm simplifying a bit. There's obviously a lot of different types of questions, but the first thing you should do when you hear a question, you should figure out, okay, where is the difficulty in this problem, right? Where does the difficulty lie? And the reason you want to know that is because you want to know where you should spend your time. Okay, that is, I think, the most important heuristic for interviews at this level is understand where you should spend your time. Should I spend more time asking follow-ups? Should I spend more time clarifying edge cases? Or should I get through that as fast as possible and then spend time actually grinding the implementation? Okay, so I think that is just a general tip I want to give you, because I think there definitely could have been a bit of time that you spent more on the, let's say, comprehension part, right? Now, the actual problem I gave was exactly the LeetCode problem, but I didn't give you the example diagram, and that is on purpose, because in a real interview, they will also almost certainly not give you the diagram, and that is actually intentional for you to actually showcase your skills and draw it out yourself, right? It doesn't mean that you have to understand the problem on the first try, but it does mean that you have to draw out a reasonable situation and say, all right, I have this graph. I believe the answer should be 4. Do you agree? Right? And then start the discussion from there. It shows a bit of initiative, so that's just good on the social level. But also, it's like, if you're just stuck and you say nothing, you don't do anything, it's hard for me to help as well. Right? Now, for the mock interview, obviously, I don't care. I'll just give you this. I'll just give you the graph because I don't want to sit here for 6 minutes looking at you struggle. But like for a real interview, they're gonna say, oh, maybe this person doesn't show very much initiative. Oh, they don't know how to unblock themselves, that kind of thing, right? So be aware that that's actually something that's like that's judged, right? So try what you can, and if it's taking you too long, then you should directly ask for help, right? So just be aware of that. Like that's part of the test. Okay, so that's the first piece of feedback. And the second one I want to just showcase is I think the actual implementation was actually quite strong, but I think overall, again, spend the 1 minute or 2 minutes to draw out the plan. Right? In this case, I actually explicitly slowed you down and told you to write down the plan. And the reason was because most interviewers, including myself, we don't really, we don't know what level you're at, right? Like we don't know if, for example, you have problems understanding the problem because English isn't your first language, or because I did a really bad job explaining it, or both, or you just haven't heard a certain terminology before, right? And so when you're moving to a separate category of test, like, hey, now it's the execution part of the test, right? Show them some confidence and outline your plan, right? All right, here's my algorithm. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have 3 steps. First, I'm gonna convert this. I'm gonna do this, and I do a little sum over here, right? So write down the plan. That way, the interviewer can go like, okay, that plan that's okay, or it's like, okay, that's really good. I really like that. Let's make sure we stay on track. Or it's like, okay, that plan is disastrous. We cannot do that, and then they can step in and help, right? The worst case scenario is if you have a really bad plan in your head, no one knows about it, and you start doing it, and then it's too late and we can't fix it, right? So be aware that having the initiative to write out a plan like that is actually really good, and for you, it gives the interviewer a chance to step in and help. Okay, it doesn't mean the interviewer will help, right? Not all interviewers will help, but at least they can help if they want, right? Like, do you understand? So just be aware of that. Spend a minute, spend the 2 minutes, write out the plan, get people on board, right? It's a strategy actually. Say, hey, here's my plan. What do you feel about it? Like, do you think this is something we can proceed with? Do you have any concerns? Right? Give them a chance to talk. Maybe they won't say anything. It's, oh, I can't comment on that, right? Maybe they won't say anything, but at least they can try. So I think that's worth their time. Those are the 2 main pieces of feedback I have here. Oh, and the time and space, by the way, you were correct the first time around. Just don't get baited into saying something wrong, right? When an interviewer is asking you follow-ups about it, they're not necessarily saying you're wrong. They just want to see how you thought through a different process. So don't just like jump the gun and just immediately start correcting yourself. Like, take your time and think about it a little bit so you're not wrong. Because if you're right, and then I ask you a follow-up and then you immediately switch up, then it's like, oh, you got it right because you got lucky, not because you're actually understandable, right? So just be aware of that. Take your time on the time and space complexities. Usually not a rush for that. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right. Let's go to your questions.
Thanks a lot for
Yeah,
Thanks a
no
lot
problem.
for all this feedback and everything. It helps a lot. Um, so I mean, kind of questions I wanted to ask you, you sort of asked a few of them already. Like I was about to ask you about the diagram thing. Like, you said that, generally people will like, so you already answered some of the questions I had in my mind.
Okay.
Some of the other questions I have is like, most interviews I've been at, right? Like for some reason I've been to like maybe 15 some interviews or something, but I've barely been asked coding problems, which is kind of interesting. Like, because
Okay.
I've probably applied for like the smaller tech companies.
Yeah.
The thing is with big tech companies, like what do you suggest? Like it's not an interview related question, but like how do you suggest like getting into the big tech, like the good companies, the big companies? Because I
Do you
never hear
mean
back
do you
from
mean
them.
getting to the interview?
Yeah, getting to the
Or
interview.
getting to the interview, so
Like
not
do you have any
actually about the
suggestions?
interview. I mean, this is not an interview question. I can answer it really quickly for you. The TLDR, I mean, first of all, I'm assuming you're in North America, right? You don't have to say where you're from, but I don't have experience elsewhere, so I can only speak about North America, right? In North America, I'm going to say a couple things. The first thing is there's almost this implied idea that you got to get there on your first internship or your first job. That's not always like that's actually unusual. Most people get into big tech after working a job at a small tech company, either as an internship or as full time, developing their skills, both technical and social, and then with a social network, jumping to big tech afterwards. That's actually the most common path. So the stuff you hear online about, oh, I just interned there and I just immediately went there, that's actually an outlier, right? So just to reframe it a bit, okay? But I'm not going to dodge a question. I'm going to answer it directly as well. The most likely path you can get there, twofold. The first one is you have to get enough, you have to make sure your resume is bulletproof. Okay, and
Yeah.
bulletproof in this case means you don't want your resume to holding you back, and it can be holding you back in different ways. The first thing is, okay, I call it the table stakes, right? You have a full stack web app, you have databases, you have some cloud technology, you have some, you have some like logging observability, data science, maybe just a little bit, right? You have some keywords, right? When you're connecting and socializing with people who are, excuse me, who are potentially going to give you referrals, or who you're trying to enter their social network or go to like whatever events there are, right? When they look at your resume, they cannot say like, oh, I don't know, this is kind of mid, right? Like you don't want that, right? Because you got to understand when you're going to those companies, everybody's resume is basically pristine, right? Like that's basically how it's going to be. So you don't want the people to have hesitations about you, right? So if you're not quite there yet, focus on polishing that up, getting some good products in, getting some good, events and whatever it may be, right? Getting that on your resume, and then spend your time applying. If you spend all your time applying before you spent the time making projects, you're wasting your time, right? So that's a high level feedback I'll give, and I'm not saying that's the case for you. I obviously don't know you very well. I don't know your resume, don't know your projects, don't know your school, right? But it's just that hey, that's a common error I see in people's strategy.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, for me, I have like four internships with companies. Like, so I was like, maybe the next internship I can try at a big tech. Hopefully, if I get in.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
like,
obviously, you
like
should always
resume.
try. You should always try, right? I'm not discouraging you from trying. You should always try. I'm just saying, like, hey, don't feel discouraged if you don't get in there, right? Because it is very common for people to not get in that right out of school. Most people jump there after they got their first promotion, after they get one or two promotions, then they go there. So, I mean, yeah, you should definitely try. Just don't be discouraged. That's all.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Sorry, it wasn't an interview question. It was something it's
No
like
worries. I'm
maybe
happy to
just
answer.
something
I'm
else.
happy to answer most questions. So, yeah, don't feel. Yeah, I mean, don't worry about that.
And interview wise, one last question. Do you think do you think companies care about what programming language you program in? Like, I prefer Python just because it's easy to program. Like, and also because all my internships have been in Python. So at this point, I know Python a lot better than most other languages. So is it like okay? Like, do they
So
have
most of the
flexibility?
time, the answer is going to be no. They don't care. There are some caveats. For example, certain roles require certain languages, and usually those roles will have the language preference listed in the job description, and so it usually they won't require necessary interviews in that language, but they will prefer. And the other caveats include non-Leetcode questions. So, for example, for API design, object-oriented design, like that kind of stuff, they might require a certain language for that, right? So these days, at least in the city I am, Vancouver, this can be very common for that to be in Java. Sometimes they will allow Python for OOD as well. My company we use Scala for that as well. If you have Scala, that's bonus points, right? Also very common to use C Sharp, that kind of thing, right? So depends on the interview format. They might also require certain languages, right? If it's a data science role, obviously that's going to be in Python. Maybe that'll be Jupyter notebooks, for example, right? And then
Mm.
one more thing I will say about that is it's not just about the language, but it is a common thing people know these days that people use Python for Leetcode. Okay, and that's fine. I'm not saying it's a problem. That's fine, but it does mean that if you're using Python for Leetcode, your Leetcode Python better be good, right?
Mm.
Like, what do I mean by that? If you're going for a more competitive role, you don't want to be struggling on things like types, right? Like, at the
Mm.
bare minimum, that should be a complete non-question, right? Like, okay, maybe you
Okay.
forgot to do a dictionary comprehension. Yeah, that's not super common. You know, that's okay to kind of like back up a bit. You can't ask about type syntax, right? Like that's too far, I think, for most
Mm.
interviewers. So
That makes
I mean, look, you could also just request to do the interview in Python 2. That's if you're really not good with Python 3, you can do that. That does come with some downsides. For example, if you're using Python 2, you cannot use the excuse that you only use Python for LeetCode. Okay, nobody uses Python 2
mm.
for LeetCode. So if you're using Python 2 for LeetCode, they're gonna know that you use Python professionally, and that they can be not more harsh, but they can judge your actual code itself. Right? Most LeetCode code, they won't care about how your functions are structured. They won't care about what classes you make. They won't care about your variable names. If you're using Python 2, that means that you use Python professionally, and so that is fair game for critique. Okay, so
Mm.
just some food for thought there. There's no hard and fast rule, but hopefully that gives you a bit of insight.
That makes sense. Yeah. Thank you so much. I know you have
Awesome, Rush.
a
Okay,
resume review.
is there anything else you have? Otherwise, we'll just end it here.
I have another question,
Okay,
but like you have
ask
a
it fast.
resume review. For system design interviews, like generally what do they ask in internships? Like what do they expect from interns in system design? Like
You're asking
quickly,
about
if
big
you
tech.
can. Yeah, big tech. I mean, generally.
Okay, so most big tech companies actually don't ask intern system design. And if they do ask intern system design, I know a couple do. For example, my company does ask intern system design, but that's not actually to test your system knowledge. That's a very common, this is actually a very common misconception, by the way, is for all the intern, junior, and even intermediate roles sometimes, the system design questions are actually about communication and collaboration and about thought process. And they're not actually about how good did you design Twitter. Nobody cares. You are never going to design Twitter. People actually care about how good are you expressing the problems you're working through. How good are you expressing the potential issues in your design? How good are you anticipating, different problems coming up, right? That's a more important attribute in system design and not the actual outcome and stability and scalability of the actual system. So, you know, you should still go practice it. Go through the motions. I have a couple on my YouTube, by the way. You can go watch that playlist, system design playlist. But
Mm-hmm.
don't stress too much about that. If what I'm looking at for your performance today, I would say don't optimize for system design prep in North America.
Mm.
I can't comment on other places. Um,
I mean, I'm in North America
you're in
only,
North
so
America. Okay, yeah. I didn't want to assume. I didn't want to assume because I don't know anything about you. Right?
that makes sense. I'm in
Don't.
Vancouver as well.
You in Vancouver as well? Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's a correct city to be. But yeah, don't optimize for system design. It's not worth it. It's not worth your time right now. Later on, yeah, later
Sounds
on practice it. Right now, not worth it.
okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much. That's all. I can
Okay,
always message you on Discord if I have any other questions. Right?
you can
That's good
message in
with
the
you,
main
right?
channel. I don't check my DMs. I currently have, let me check. I currently have 686 DMs. So no, I will not see yours, but you can message me in the main Discord.
In Discord, as in like the Tech Career North.
Yes, Tech Career North would be the one that I'm active in. You can also tag me in Boba Talks, but I had them unmuted, so maybe don't tag me there. Maybe tag me in Tech Career North. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Let me just send him the feedback. Oops, that's not the feedback. This is the feedback. That's the feedback. Get him on that one. Mark on red. I gotta request this thing after. Blah 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 blah. Don't care. Don't care. Okay. All right. Cool. So I saw some stuff in the. Do you really want candidates to ask something about DIT comprehension? I thought that was more standard than a shortcut. Do I? You really want? Was that part of the feedback I wrote? I think I wrote something about that, right? Oh yeah. So what I meant by this comment, I didn't elaborate because we are out of time. But what this comment was supposed to mean is, this person tried to use a data comprehension a couple times, but they kind of failed. Like they just didn't quite get it right. What I would say is, especially if you're going to use Python at a company that doesn't use Python, you should ask the interviewer, if you can use data comprehension, if that sort of stuff is going to be evaluated. The truth is that data comprehensions, unlike list ones, are usually a bit more complex, and you don't want the interviewer like you don't want to force the interviewer to guess what you're doing, right? If you can do it with a for loop like this one, just write the for loop, right? You aren't being judged by Guido himself, right? So just keep it simple, and don't use a dit comp unless it's like super obvious. So that's what I meant by this comment over here. Can we add Leetcode this number? Okay, let me see. That's not Leetcode. Distribute mind. Is this the one you're talking about? That's an interesting problem. Haven't seen it before. I don't know. I mean, my problem bank is whatever the fuck I want. I just make shit up and then I ask it. Usually I take inspiration from a problem. I usually don't ask the exact same one. You can look at my past VODs for that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I could ask this one if they're looking for easy. Or is there a joke I didn't understand here? I'm fucking asleep. Partnerships, yeah, it's competitive these days. Usually in the market for the more junior folks, you got to have more internships. How's the scale at my company? Is e-maintainable a giant monstrosity of the worst libraries dependencies? Truthfully, I don't. Most of my work is in TypeScript full stack, and then the Scala is only for certain backend systems. It's pretty good. Like it's pretty, like the way it is right now is it's pretty good. It's used for the high performance kind of part of our system. It's pretty good. I don't have any problems with reading or writing in it. But I come from a Java background, right? And in my Java experience previously, we were also using a bit of Kotlin and a bit of Scala. So I'm not new to Scala, and I do enjoy Scala. Okay, we are currently doing resume review. Where is my thing? My thing is here. Where is my other thing? Upgrade now. No, I don't want to upgrade now, actually. I would like to not upgrade. Submit resume. Boom. I don't know if anyone, I mean, I don't have any reviewers on Twitch anyways, but put the link there. Get some water. Get some freaking water. Where is here? Back at 13:10. All right, what do we have? Should I cross post this in Boba Talks? Let me see. Where's my thing? Where's their mod mail thing? Here it is. Alright, I'll ask where I can do that. Okay, whatever. Alright, what are we doing here? Okay, so. Where's my spreadsheet? Here it is. Great. Submission time 12:50. Ooh, you are cutting it. You are cutting it close, my guy. 10 minutes early? 10 minutes early? Huh? Okay. 10 minutes early. So you know what? I'm gonna do it just a second. Alright, so. What's a comment is that? How do you find it? Oh, this. How did I find my current company? I mean, I had connections, previous friends, classmates, coworkers here, and I was going through a bunch of offers, and I said, all right, of these offers, which of these guys do I actually want to work with? And then I picked the company based off of the people there, well, the people who I knew there. I don't know if you're a more senior or junior guy, so I can't comment on, like, relatively speaking, but at my level, that was pretty common. Just find people you liked and then say, all right, I want to work with you. All right, this guy's comment is, looking for Summer 26, Canada, big tech, some names there. Infra, SRE, DevOps, production engineering. Oh, interesting. Okay, also in the back end. General feedback on bullet points, relevancy, prior roles, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Bolding is fine. Additional context. Second bullet point in RBC experience has made up metrics. Just begin working on better. Okay, cool. All right, let's pick a color today. We'll do orange. No, actually, you know what? I want to do pink. Yeah, that's a nice fuchsia. Okay. All right. Excuse me. Okay. I don't see any infra courses here. I don't know Carlton. I actually know a guy from Carlton, ironically, but I don't know his. Well, he's not in software. I don't know if Carlton has like SRE, infra, cloud stuff, cloud ops. Put that in. Like, take that course if you have it available. Okay. You're talking about this point. Okay, so I'll keep that in mind. Okay, RBC. This is current. Oh, you just start. Wait. You haven't start. Oh no, you have. Is this? Yeah, you just start recently. Okay. GSOC. Carlton. What is this? Research assistant. Okay. And you want to do. Wait, is this the same guy? Hold on. Yes, and you're looking for infra, SRE, DevOps. Okay, let's take a look. DevOps, pipeline, Jenkins, CI/CD. That's good. TypeScript SDK, Kubernetes, GitHub Actions. This is kind of duplicative to your RBC one, but the RBC one is more important, so that's fun to put on. Testing suite for just unit tests and testing using, I don't know what that is, Bats Bash. Okay. Okay. ETL pipeline, NumPy. This one feels pretty empty, to be honest. Maintain visual. I think maintain. You could expand on maintain. Like, what does maintain mean? Like, did you fix UI bugs? Did you host it? Did you do maintenance, etc.? As in, like, hardware maintenance, as an example. I think there's the things you can expand on here. Okay, projects, full stack, blah blah. That's good. That's pretty good. Okay, build a full stack. How's it hosted? AWS. I would expand a lot more on the hosting here. Right, I would expand a lot more on hosting here. Like when you're saying infra, SRE, DevOps, production, I would expand on the hosting. I think this could be good. This could be really good. High performance web crawler, Go, blah 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 blah. This one, I'd say you could also talk a little bit about that. This is pretty back end focused. I like the distributed stuff. Distributed is good. How is this coordinated? Just click on MongoDB crawler, Go query. Okay. All right, expense tracker. This is mid. I like that's mid. That's fine. All right. I would say, yeah, these two products are actually really good. These two over here, I think these two are actually really quite good. You can really expand on that one. I would say this one, probably just cut a point there. That's kind of relevant. This one's kind of borderline. Once you get RPC more, I would probably cut 1 or 2 points from GSOC. This one, I would say you should add at least 1 point each. Okay. For example, this one you gotta talk about how it's hosted, and that could be very good. I think right now this makes sense, but it's pretty basic. I wanna learn a little bit more about network rules, right? Performance considerations, cost considerations. If you're going for infra, DevOps, that could be really good. DevOps is covered pretty well already. I think you have a lot of Jenkins, CI/CD, Kubernetes, and that's pretty well done. So I think the resume is actually pretty well tailored. I think this is actually looking pretty decent. So yeah, keep it up. Good stuff. All right, let's take a look. Next guy. Oh, this guy submitted it twice. They submitted it twice as the same one. Let me see. Yeah, same one. All right, that's fine. I'll just review one of them then, obviously. How do you find? I'm kind of senior. Do you have an interview for the offers? I had to interview. But the kind of referrals and the network connections kind of got me like a guaranteed pass through the resume reviews and through like the screening basically. So I didn't do any OAs, didn't do anything like that. I just went straight to the interviews. That was it was a bit different for another role I had. I had a recruiter reach out to me from like a quant/finance kind of back for a role, and I went to that one as well. That one I was told I skipped the first round of interviews. But that company, like Citadel, like they do interviews a bit weirdly. Like they don't have rounds of kind of the same way. So, I mean, depending on how you ask it, for the most part, no, I didn't skip any interviews. But for some of them, depending on how you count it, they're like condensed/skipped, kind of thing. But yeah, I shouldn't have done that one. That one was fucking miserable. I hate that company. Let's see this guy. Okay, did I download this shit already? No. Yo, is Google bugging? I can't download this. Oh, now it's working. Oh my god, now it gave me 3 of them. All right. All right. Cool. All right, that's fine. Do I have PhD or MS? Nope, I'm just a bachelor's. But I have some pretty high vis projects at AWS. Backend internship 2026 summer, USA. Where are you from? Okay, I see. Wait. Oh, okay. People say USA, what they actually mean New York City or SF. Makes sense. All right. HubSpot, the score, BlackBerry. This is your university. Let's see dates or links. Skills. Elixir. What the fuck? Yeah, okay. Yeah, Elixir for networking protocols. Yeah, that's actually exactly the use case for Elixir. Okay, that makes sense. That's actually really unique, by the way. That's great. I don't really need that, but you have space, so okay. Let's see, pretty precise data points. Like this is missing. Like that's a number, but it's missing the time. Right? Like this is daily. That's number and time. This gives you a rate. Right? Rate is what you want here. So I think this is, I don't know. I think there's definitely some more data you can put over here, or like just describe what's going on. What's the business impact of this? This sounds like I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what this is. Yeah, I think I'd expand it a bit more. The score, okay. Wait, what is this? To reduce deployed environments from 25 to 5. Game integration proxy to reduce. Do I understand this? You're making proxies to reduce. Are these network deployments? I don't understand how this would reduce number of environments. I would ask by doing this, like you did this to reduce because this reduced network demand or something. I think this is not obvious why this would cause the other. Yeah, like this is not obvious to me. Implemented a schedule, blah 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 blah. Okay, blah 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 blah. Okay, that's good. BlackBerry. All right, some Terraform. Okay. between a file HTTP request caching library to serialize and cache frequent tests to reduce total network calls. Integrate. Okay, I believe that. That's good. Docker size. Okay. Teaching assistant. Blah blah blah. This is not 3 points. This is like 1 point max. Put another 1 or 2 points there. Put another point here. Elite tracker. All right. The full stack app. Read character link the security per request for developing problems. Often database certain times for goes in currency. I mean, look, this is a project. You have no excuse to not have data here. Ability map. Full stack app. Blah 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 blah. This is a school project kind of thing. I don't know. I feel like if you're not going for ML. This doesn't feel like it's anything. I would say if this is a basic full stack app with some stuff going on here, I would say you can just put it as like a 1 pointer just to let people know, hey, I like music, etc. Again, this is the kind of thing where like you can put some data there, see what's going on. The truth is for these projects that don't have like a lot of throughput and traffic, like stuff like reducing query times is clearly meant, or like integrating fast API or whatever. And like this is just clearly meant to be a resume pattern, right? I mean, look, I'm not gonna assume how many users you have, but I can assure you do not need this technology, right? So if you're just doing this to pad the resume, get rid of these points that are here. These are points for projects no one cares about. Put them in here, right? This is more important. Central rate my prof, blah 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 blah. Yeah, same thing. Put more points above. Put more points above, it'll be a better use of your space. All right. All right. Okay. This is a comment. Recruiting for big tech unicorn internships 2026. Canada, US, summer 26. Okay, then let's take a look. This is current. Software engineer 2 intern. What the heck? The same company, I presume? MCP server developed. I mean, I'm assuming this is supposed to be present tense. If you're recruiting for 726 US, there should be present tense, so you can talk about things going forward. I mean, otherwise, if this is done, makes sense. Internal tooling team, development CP, that makes sense. Wait, what is this supposed to mean? Fortune 500, you got 15 engineers using this thing? I guess that is a data point. All right, that's fine. Software engineering. Where's the software? This feels like this is all testing, no? You have a script here and you have testing. These are all tests. I don't know. I would probably, since it's the same team and the same company, I would probably combine these two together and just have a separate header here, right? Separate headers, separate dates. It's a bit cleaner that way. Startup, okay. Okay. Deploy doc, okay. All right. So this is a startup, so it's okay, right? Anything kind of goes. Couple things to kind of get you into the right mindset. The first thing is, I'll pick a random point as an example, right? Like this point is good. It has some context. It has some data. It's not really motivated. Okay, so for example, Pinecone DB makes sense. Queries and codes and similarity also makes sense. This doesn't really say anything though, right? Like this isn't saying, like, it's not like, hey, previously we used this system and it gave us 80% accuracy. Now we're using this and it's 95. No, it's like, no, this is bog standard industry tooling for this kind of thing. This is more of like a technology section, right? Which you have over here. So I would more so phrase this as like, hey, we needed the system. Oh, so this is not, see, you were the word built and not improved. So you say, hey, we need this system because without it, we wouldn't be able to do this and this. functionality for the product, right? So I would more so reframe it as like enabled XYZ functionality for the product through building a RAG system. So that's how I would kind of make this more relevant and less focus on like the technical merits, which is pretty standard stuff. Okay. Again, same thing here. Not really sure what's going on, right? Like, you did two things, not really related. What's the impact? Don't really know. This is a year ago now, so it's like whatever. Open source contributor, again, not really know what's going on here. You have a GitHub link there, which is I think really good, by the way. People can look at that, they care. And then support some stuff. Yeah, this is some loose sleeve stuff. I think that's fine. All right, project, ReactGPT, Vercel, scikit-learn, lowercase s. Okay, what is your thing? Big tech unit. Okay, so what's your full stack? Okay, so you need a full stack dev. Okay, I know you have Node and Ruby here. Where's your project with Node and Ruby? Like what's going on? Like, again, everything in this baseline skills. Full stack web app. If you don't have a full stack web app, you better have good experience. Okay, full stack web app, please. That's a bare minimum. When I look at resumes these days, I cannot find one without either a good full stack web app project or actually good experience that negates the need for a project, right? So if you're going for competitive companies and you don't see yourself having those kind of skills, full stack skills, I would say, hey, show what you got, demonstrate that very clearly. All right, let's take a look. All right, this is our last one I do today. This is okay, yeah, last one I did today. We're basically at time. All right, this guy's comment. Full stack or ML? Those are completely different things. Whenever I see that, I am worried. But let's take a look. Okay. Relevant courses. You got some stuff here. Okay. None of these are special. So I prefer to do show, don't tell. Right? If you have something that's very unique or special, or if it's like an academic kind of course, like you have some advanced ML, advanced AI stuff, you did a research course, you did like a, what's that called? Like an honors thesis. Like that's good to put on relevant courses. Otherwise, these courses, everybody takes. Right? Every single student will take these courses. There's no exception. So this line is basically completely irrelevant because this doesn't help you stand out. Okay, bank experience, work experience, big bank. Okay, chatbot agent, front-end transfers, blah 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 blah. Okay, deploy system. Okay, how long is this? This is recent. This is okay. Okay, so generally speaking, especially talking about the intern level kind of thing, don't use adjectives. Right, like you just don't know how adjectives works, just don't use adjectives. Robust API, don't say it's robust, show it's robust. Right, for example, if you're telling me these things here, these three things alone do not cause robustness. Okay, so when I see that you said something is robust because it's using these three things, this kind of devalues the merit of what's going on here, right? So don't use adjectives unless you know what you're doing. Just, this is not robust. This doesn't necessarily mean it's robust. It could still be robust, but not because of these three things. Okay. Oil and gas. Okay, I know what province you're from. Actually, I know what province you're in because you filled out the city. But even without that, oil and gas. I mean, it could be Saskatchewan, I suppose, right? Entity framework. What is this? Reducing data retrieval times 45%. Okay. This is fine. No, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. This is fine. Yeah, this is fine. I mean, look, I think this is pretty cool. If you, yeah, this is a project or this is a what? I mean, if there's a link available, that'd be really cool. I don't know if this is like a private thing though, so that's more of a thought. But I think that could be cool. I think that could be cool. Yeah, I think this could be cool. I mean, hey, I think this is actually an interesting talking point. So I'll give you some points for that. All right. Site sense. Arduino-based crash system. Okay. Oh, this is cool. By the way, one thing I noticed. Good first points. Right. First points. Give me an outline what's going on. These first points, I think they're good. I think they're good examples. Keep that up. Leverage tensors flow. Web union convex. I don't know what convex is. That's kind of interesting. Lang chain. Overcame front and back integrating challenges and ensures seamless. Okay. Okay. My buddy. Okay. Let's see. Look at this stuff here. Express a lot of stuff. What the hell is this? Okay. Okay. I think full stack. Tailor your resume for full stack. This is one which you can definitely focus on. If you're going for ML, look, the market is competitive for ML. If you want to seriously have a shot at ML, you gotta have a resume that is a lot more ML focused, right? Like we want to see, like, because right now I feel like you might have more non AI, non ML projects. You're just not putting here. If you're taking this middle ground, you're kind of hurting yourself both ways, right? So look, this resume by itself, I'm just telling you just straight up, it's not ML competitive. Okay, so instead, use this resume, put in your non-ML projects that are more impressive for, like, full stack or front end or back end, whatever, right? Put that into this resume, and then make a second resume where you can talk about the ML, you can play up the ML side of things, okay? Otherwise, you can hurt yourself on both fronts. All right, that is all I will review today. Thank you for watching. And last thing was a robust Arabica blend. Yeah, I'm not a coffee guy though, but coffee's chill. All right, get out of here.